Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this morning, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, and I mean alongside me today, look at this. I can actually touch him. He is here. He's in the building. My brother Alex. Alex, how you doing?
What's up, man? Holy shit. It's been a long time.
Hey, it's been what? It's been 2 months since we've done one like this?
I mean, The Last Dance is all I can
Yeah.
right? So
yeah.
that's probably been 2
months.
2 months.
In June? Sometime in June?
That's right. And we're back. And we couldn't have picked a better episode to do one together, right?
This is the best episode of the year.
Because if you follow the podcast in the past, we've done basketball previews, baseball previews, football previews, and this you will get my most outlandish predictions of the 2020 NFL season.
And he might actually get one right.
Shot.
Whatever you do, folks, don't part with your hard-earned money on this podcast.
Fade the gaucho.
The KOD, the kiss of death.
That's right.
Oh, man. As Alex said, this is our NFL preview. The season starts tomorrow with the Texans and the defending Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs. I can't wait. I don't know what it's going to look like because there's not going to be any fans. But you know what? I don't care. I truly don't care. This pandemic has made me realize just how much I love sports. And I don't care if there's fans there or not. I don't care if I get to go or not. At the end of the day, we get the best reality show there is. To me, sports are the best reality show there is because you have teams competing for a championship. You have people that have to make it work together. They have to battle through adversity. They have to get lucky sometimes. It is reality TV at its best, and it starts tomorrow.
Yeah, it crept up on me. I mean, I think you too maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We've been engaged with basketball and baseball
Right.
that I think you probably more so with hockey, but I mean, I completely almost forgot football was.
Well, if you think about it, in a normal year, right, when we're coming up to football season, we're going through kind of the slog of the summer of the MLB, right?
Right.
Baseball is, there's a lot of teams that are out of it. There's some teams making a run. You get past the trade deadline on July 31st, and then you've got that month to just kind of basically just wait for football.
Right.
But you're right. This year we have the NBA playoffs, which are very exciting. The NHL playoffs, which are very exciting. For those of us that like even more sports, the Tour de France is going on. The U.S. Open's going on. The UEFA Champions League went later. So I personally have had a,
Heavy dose of sports.
I've been at the buffet for weeks. It's been great.
Like Lou Williams.
That's right, because that's what you go to the strip joint for, is for the buffet and the wings. All right, man. Well, let's get right into it. Enough jibber jabber about nothing.
Damn Skippy.
Let's talk about the 2020, 2021. That's too many 20s.
The upcoming NFL season.
Upcoming NFL season. Let's make it a little bit easier for ourselves. And let's go straight into it. Let's start in the AFC. Let's start with the defending Super Bowl champions. Let's look at the AFC West. We got Kansas City, Denver, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Los Angeles Chargers. So this division is the best at changing names. Because it's going to be weird to say the Las Vegas Raiders. I thought it was weird to say the Los Angeles Raiders when they moved there. Las Vegas Raiders is going to sound even weirder to me.
Yeah, you'll get used to it eventually. I will say this. Allegiance Stadium looks pretty fucking fancy. I wouldn't mind going to Vegas just to at least walk by it. I mean, that thing looks fucking pretty
nice.
dope.
It looks nice. Look, I'm excited. I'm excited for the season, but I'm not excited to see much in this division, especially with some of the news we got this week. The Chiefs are head and shoulders above everyone else in this division. I don't think the Chargers are going to make much of a run at them. I don't think the Raiders are going to make much of a run at them. And I don't think the Broncos are going to make much of a run at them. those three teams are very clearly playing for the chance of possibly getting in a wild card spot and maybe taking a step forward from last season, right? I think that's a lot of these teams, that's what they're looking for. They're looking to improve on last year. And that's really all there is available to them, in my opinion, with the Kansas City Chiefs sitting at the top. The Chiefs are, they were good last year, 12-4. No other team was 8-8 or better last year. I think it might be more of the same this year.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to, if you're betting, it's hard to bet against the Chiefs, right? Just because they are, they're the fucking champs, right? But yeah, definitely. You mentioned, I'm guessing you're referring to the news out of Denver with Von Miller being out. That's a huge loss. But
most likely for the season, right?
Right. So that was still a team that, in the NFL, it's all about, not all about, but 90% is quarterback play, right? So we weren't sure what the Broncos quarterback situation is like. Drew Lock starting again, but he hasn't really proven himself over 16 games. I think the Raiders are going to put up a fight in that division. Like, if I had to pick a team that would compete against the Chargers for the division, it would probably be the Raiders. Not because of their new fancy stadium. I just think they have a solid team around Derek Carr. Yeah. So, and he was, if you look at like his fourth quarter numbers, he was like 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. He had a pretty good season last year, a real quiet, good season. Like, it was overlooked a little bit, I think. So, I think the Raiders are the team in that division to take the next step. And I like the weapons around Carr. I really do. So,
well, they've got a good running game.
Yeah.
Right, which is a quarterback's best friend, and you're right. Derek Carr seems to be growing up and getting better. I look forward to seeing him improve this year. Again, I think I agree with you. I think he's probably that team is probably the second best team in that division, and if they can make hay against, if they can pick up 4 wins against the Broncos and Chargers, they're going to be in a good spot to possibly get into a playoff spot.
And the Chargers are, they no longer have Phillip Rivers, right? Now they have Tyrod Taylor. They'll be grooming Justin Herbert, right? And I think we've seen Phillip Rivers not really throw the ball that well. He's got good receivers, or he had good receivers with the Chargers, but he just wouldn't find a way to get over that hump, right? And I think Tyrod Taylor, he's not great, but I think he can be serviceable for this team. They no longer have Melvin Gordon. Now their running game is going to be all Eckler. I don't know if they can really.
It's a clear rebuild in Los Angeles,
but not a full rebuild. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like they still have they still have a pretty decent defense. They have weapons on offense. Really, their only question mark is the quarterback position.
Well, you said at the beginning of this that quarterbacks kind of make it happen, and that's probably the worst place to have a question mark.
Right, but I feel like with the Chargers it might be a little easier on Tyrod Taylor, right? Because he's got the weapons. Like, think about it. The Chargers made the playoffs maybe every other year with Phillip Rivers and this
basically this team, right?
And basically this team,
Small
right?
changes here and there.
So maybe this could be the sleeper team of the season, right? Maybe Phillip Rivers, as good as he is, maybe he was holding this team back a little bit, right? Maybe Tyrod Taylor gives him that different dynamic. He can run the ball a little more, right? He's a little more mobile. So now teams can prepare. Defenses will prepare for that also. So this, and I think they have a good coach. I think their coach is keeps the team well balanced. Now that I think about it, the Chargers could be a sleeper team. Maybe they're one of my sleeper teams. I don't know.
No, I think if anyone comes out of this division looking like a sleeper team gone good, it's the Raiders.
The Raiders
have the most weapons. They've got a solid running game. I think that is a big plus, and a quarterback who is maturing and getting better as the seasons progress. Is he going to be an elite quarterback? I don't know, but right now I take him head and shoulders above Locke and Tyrod Taylor in terms of talent, and I think that's going to make a big difference. So who do you have winning the division? Let's go division winners.
You got to go.
You got to start taking notes. Until we got to put it. That's right. We got to put it on paper.
Until they show us otherwise. It's got to be the Chiefs, right?
Oh, I thought you were going to take the Chargers.
Well, I just may. Maybe they're my sleeper team, Ed.
I'm going to go ahead and take the Chiefs. We hardly talked about them. They're so damn good.
Okay, so can Patrick Mahomes lead the Chiefs to another Super Bowl?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's done it once. He can do it again. I don't see why not. My problem with I really don't like it when people talk about he's the greatest quarterback ever, or he's one of the greatest. Look, there's a lot of guys that have won a lot of football games. Is he on a path to being great? Absolutely. Is he great if he stops playing today? No. So stop calling him the greatest quarterback ever. Stop comparing him to Brady. Stop comparing him to Joe Montana. Stop comparing him to Terry Bradshaw. It's just, stop it. Let him be what he is right now. He's a third-year quarterback or fourth-year quarterback who's won the Super Bowl and is on track to being a great quarterback. Absolutely. Could possibly even be the best quarterback in the league this year. So yeah, he could definitely lead them to the promised land again. But look, the wild card in the NFL is always there, and that wild card is injuries, right? You never know what could happen. It's a violent game. People get hurt all the time, and I think he's the best quarterback in the league right now. But do I think that automatically makes him a Super Bowl winner? No. They're gonna have to navigate through a 16-game season and 3 games in the playoffs, which is not an easy task to get there. So
yeah, I agree with you. I think part of the reason is because why they say Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback, or it's because I'm guessing it's because his style of play is something that we really haven't, the guy's making some fucking crazy no-look throws and, stuff like that.
We haven't seen that before. We haven't seen Michael Vick do that. We haven't seen Brett Favre throw the ball on the run across his body. We haven't seen that before. We've seen all of this before. Lamar Jackson is doing it too.
Right, but it's the newer generation, right? He's got the crazy curly blonde hair.
We've got recency bias
and stuff like that. So it's it's a little premature to say.
I will say he is the greatest at this. He's got the greatest contract ever.
Ain't that the truth?
How much did he get? Like $1 billion?
Yeah, something like that. Isn't he buying the Royals too, or having
I think he owns Kansas City.
Like the whole state?
The whole city.
The city.
Kansas would be the state, Alex. And Kansas City's in Missouri, right?
Oh, I thought it was in Kentucky.
Okay.
Well, I failed. Okay, so I failed English and geography. Okay.
And math, science, social studies.
Yeah, all that.
Reading. Writing.
All right, so
we both got the Chiefs winning. We'll get to wild cards later. When people talk about Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, they can't help but talk about Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. So let's go to the AFC North, where we have the Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns, and the Bengals. This continues to look like a two-team division to me. I just don't either I just don't trust the process in Cleveland,
Right.
or there's a culture problem there that is not. It's just not getting fixed. I don't see it. I don't see this team moving forward. They're not 0-16 bad like they were a few years ago.
Right.
I get it. But they don't look like a playoff team to me either. They're not. They haven't really made any moves that make me go, wow. It's...
The Browns?
The Browns just don't look all that special to me.
Yeah, actually, the Browns made quite a few moves. Not, bombshell moves, but I think they've gotten plenty of depth on their team, and this could be a season where the Browns play like everyone expected them to play last season. Second year together between Baker Mayfield and Odell. I think we'll see a more polished Cleveland Browns team. And they've, like I said, they've made some signings that just shore up their depth, and for this season, that's gonna be big for every team, I think. So do I see the Browns winning the Super Bowl like people had them last year? No, but
they sure were the sexy pick last year.
Oh yeah.
And they went 6-10.
6-10. But I do see them fighting for that 6th and 7th wild card spot in the AFC.
I think they went 6-10 last year. I think they can go 8-8 this year, but I don't see them going much further than that. And 8-8 will have you in the fight for one of those last two wild card spots.
Yeah, and sometimes for certain teams, that's all you need, right? For a team like the Browns that trying to overcome this hype and not being in the playoffs for a while. You know what I mean? Sneaking in, and we've seen teams in the past play well those last 6 games of the season to make a run at the playoffs and possibly pull off an upset in the playoffs. So,
even in their case, just to get the experience of playoff football and maybe take that next step, so that next year maybe add a few pieces or whatever to become an even better version of a playoff team.
I mean, look, when you look at the Browns, it's very simple with the Browns. Every player on that team, especially Baker Mayfield and Odell, but more Baker Mayfield, just need to keep their mouths shut and just play football, right? Because I think that's what's gotten those two into trouble. So
that entire team has gotten into trouble that way.
Right. So, but when you put that to the side, okay, I don't consider Baker Mayfield a good quarterback. I think he's just average.
Right.
But
now,
he's got Jarvis Landry. He's got Odell Beckham. He's got a running game, Nick Chubb, who I believe led the league in rushing last year. That is
for the first half of the season.
For the first half of the season. That, I mean, again, that's a quarterback's dream right there. You got weapons. So, you just don't turn the ball over.
And don't forget, they also have Kareem Hunt. So they have that depth at running back if Chubb goes down, or they can really, really pound the football. Offensively, I think they can be good.
I think so,
again,
too.
They have to focus on the football and not on the soundbite, the press conference after the game, the Wednesday press conference.
But I think we've seen it in sports where certain players at some point in their sports career, right, they mature, right? A light just clicks and they just turn the page. And I could really see it I could see it happening with the Browns this season. So, the Steelers finished second last season, right?
At 8-8.
To the Ravens.
Yeah, the Ravens were 14-2 last year.
I didn't realize that. I thought they were like 13-3 or something like that. I could see the Cleveland and the Steelers swapping, flipping spots in the standings in the North.
See, and I don't think so.
No.
I think the Steelers are coming back with, last year they were really bitten pretty hard by the injury bug. And I feel like this year they're coming back with a vengeance. Big Ben looks like he wants to make a serious run at it. He seems to be in great shape this year. They still have a tough defense. They have a good running game. They've got Juju Schuster. They have pieces where I feel like they can hold their own. They're the kind of team that is going to be in every football game they play. And if they can have a couple of things swing their way, they can go from 8-8 to 9-7 to possibly 10-6. Admittedly, it could also go the other way and they can end up 6-10. But I just feel like there's a greater shift of focus on this team this year. And look, Mike Tomlin is, to me, the best coach in that division. And they find a way to stay in games and to win games even when they don't play their best. I feel like they're going to be healthier this year. I can't imagine they're going to go through as many injuries this year as they did last year, because last year was just insane. So I still think they're the second best team. Whether they take that step up to 9-7, 10-6 to win to win a wild card spot, that part I'm a little iffy on. And Cleveland, I have them improving a little bit as well, maybe 7-9, maybe 8-8. But to me, it's still Baltimore's division to lose.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't see the Ravens losing the division. I do see a step back for them though. I think that loss, I think the type of season they had, and then the type of loss that they had against the Titans in the playoffs can really it can have a negative effect for a team going forward.
Yeah.
Especially a young quarterback once they start really figuring you out. Right? Lamar Jackson is a very good quarterback, I think. I think he's a complete game changer, but teams study film, okay? Like it happens, right? But we'll see what we'll see if the Ravens can duplicate last season. I don't think they will.
I think 14-2 is tough to duplicate for anybody. But it is going to be a little more competitive within their division. Like I said, I think the Steelers will be healthier. The Browns will be a little bit better. Even the Bengals will be better. So 14-2 is probably unreasonable to expect, but I think there's still a good shot at 11-5, 12-4, which will have them fighting for one of the top two spots in
the AFC.
Have them fighting for the top spot in the AFC, which this year being the number one seed is a big deal because that's the only one that gets a bye.
Right. That's right.
They're going to be fighting that out until the very end, I think.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much from the Bengals at all.
What do you think about Joe Burrow? What do you think he will be able to do for the Bengals? What do you foresee for them? They went 2-14 last year, and obviously the big deal is Joe Burrow. What do you think about them in terms of what they're going to be able to do?
Well, I think keeping AJ Green healthy for this season is going to be the key, and then getting him to re-sign. Because, I mean, if you don't put anything around Joe Burrow, if you don't have a number one wide receiver like AJ Green, that's just not a good team, I think. I mean, the record, I think, proves itself. I like Joe Mixon in the backfield for the Bengals, but I don't have much thoughts about Joe Burrow. I mean, I don't know how his game's going to translate from college to the NFL. I mean, we've seen a lot of busts in the past, you know, like I'm not calling him a bust, but it's kind of a crapshoot sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I really hate to say that, but it's the truth. We've seen it happen every season, right?
And the big wild card with a situation like this is you're taking a guy who was insanely successful last year in college with an insane amount of talent around him.
Yeah.
And now you take him and you put him in a situation where he doesn't have the same level of talent comparatively, and it immediately becomes a very difficult situation. He's going to be the day one starter. They're putting the franchise on his shoulders, and this is where the whole crapshoot thing comes in that you talk about. We have, at the end of the day, for all that we saw him do in college, we have no idea how he's going to handle this situation.
Right.
There are guys, Troy Aikman took his beating and eventually became a Hall of Fame quarterback. And we've got, Ryan Leaf, who crumbled under the pressure. We've got Peyton Manning, who struggled through his first couple of seasons and became a Hall of Fame quarterback. And then you've got, Jamarcus Russell, who just said, F it, I'm not doing this, right? So it's very hard to see. And all of those quarterbacks, all four of those quarterbacks that I mentioned, had great success in college.
Right.
And now all of a sudden they were thrown into a situation where they were day one quarterback of a really bad football team. Here, fix it.
Yeah.
And you just don't know how they're going to handle it, how they're going to handle the beating, because that's what it comes down to. It becomes a beating mentally, losing so many games. It becomes a beating physically, because generally their offensive line isn't as good. They don't have the run support. They don't have the receivers, so they end up taking a lot of sacks. Physically, it's a beating. You just don't know how quarterbacks are going to handle that.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. When it comes down to that, it would have been good to have seen some preseason games with him, right? Just to see how he kind of handles the situation, and that may be, that may hurt a guy like Joe Burrow, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And a bunch of other guys,
right?
Actually,
Tua and Justin Herbert too. The other two quarterbacks that were drafted highly.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they'll finish at the bottom again. I mean, that team is gonna have,
it's a build.
It's a build, definitely a build.
It's a build. Let's move. So we both have. I've got the Ravens winning the North.
Yeah, I mean,
who do you have?
Yeah, you got to pick the Ravens, I think, right?
Well, I already did.
Well, that's why
you got to pick whoever you want to pick.
Well, I'm picking the Ravens, not because Ed is picking the Ravens. I'm picking the Ravens because I'm picking the Ravens.
You should pick what I pick so that you're right every now and then.
I think. See, okay, I'm gonna go first then. Okay, we're gonna flip. We're gonna switch.
Okay.
You're not gonna pick first every time.
Okay.
This is the fucking hardest division too.
That's right. I'm gonna go straight to the hardest division. Just not only is this the hardest division, I think this is the most exciting division. And I'm talking about the AFC South. You got the Texans, the Titans, the Colts, and the Jaguars. I don't even know where to begin here. Tennessee made the great playoff run, but remember, the Texans actually won this division last year.
Right.
Now, I'm gonna say the same thing I said last year about the Texans. I can't believe I'm gonna say it, but I think it's true. The Texans are the best 10-6 team from last year.
Yeah.
The Texans are the worst 10-6 team from last year. And it's not because there was only one 10-6 team. It's because this is what the Texans are. And I hate to say it, but I think they are the same thing this year. Part of it is because of the roster moves, and part of it is because of Bill O'Brien. Look, I think Bill O'Brien's a great coach. He's a great coach to get you from 2-14 to 10-6. But he is the worst coach to get you from 10-6 to 12-4 or 14-2 and a serious Super Bowl contender.
It's hilarious.
Which is part of why they're the best 10-6 team I've ever seen, and they're the worst 10-6 team I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have, described the Texans to a T. once again, it remains the same, right? I
Yeah.
mean, to play how they do during the season, and then to like not, you know, have a close game against the Bills and get, lose a lead like that to the Chiefs. You kind of wonder.
But it's not just in the playoffs. We saw him do it during the regular season.
Yeah.
They beat the shit out of the Patriots one week
Right.
and then got blown out at home by the Broncos.
Yeah. Yeah. This is 3-team division. I mean, the Jaguars are, I don't know what they're doing.
The Jaguars are building.
They're unloading players and contracts, and I can see them not playing in Jacksonville in like the next few years.
Yeah, they're trying to rework their roster such that they become so that they can make a run at some point. So I think Jacksonville's clearly the low man on the totem pole here. But out of the other three, who do you like?
So I mean, look, we'll stay with the Texans for a minute. They got Deshaun Watson, the contract that I think he deserves.
Absolutely.
Right? Now that this is your guy going forward. Now the question mark is kind of going to your point is what are they going to put around him? Well, let's talk about what they took away from him, and that's DeAndre Hopkins.
The best fourth quarter quarterback in the league.
That's right. 1 for 1, 6 yards, 132.3 passer rating. Gone.
The best fourth quarter quarterback in the league.
That's right.
Oh, and he's a pretty good receiver.
Yeah, he's okay. He's an okay receiver.
I mean, he's all right.
In return, they got David Johnson, who I think can be a good running back out the backfield, but injuries is always a question mark for that guy. So you gotta wonder what he can bring to the table. Then you got Randall Cobb, who they signed. They signed Brandon Cooks. They traded with the Rams. I mean, they seem.
I can't get over this point.
What?
They traded away 104 catches. They traded away 1,165 receiving yards. They traded away 7 touchdowns.
They traded away a lot, but think about this. Do they re-sign Deshaun Watson if they keep Hopkins? Because he was going to be due for a contract, right?
Right.
So what do you do? Who do you keep?
No, I get it. It was a tough situation, but you could have played the game the way the Cowboys are playing it with Dak Prescott. We'll get to them later.
Right.
But you could have done that. Deshaun
could've.
Watson was not clamoring for a new contract.
Yeah.
You could have had one more year because, look,
you're right, because considering what they got back for him, it wasn't worth trading him.
No. And here's the other thing. Defensively, this team is good, but they're 1 or 2 injuries away from being bad.
Yeah.
And so you could have kept DeAndre Hopkins and not paid Deshaun Watson. Okay, I get it. But you could have had a loaded offense. Right? And a good defense that if it stayed healthy, could have made a serious run.
Yeah.
Could have been more like that best 10-6 team that we've seen as opposed to the worst 10-6 team. I think I said it when it happened, and I'll say it again. The DeAndre Hopkins move is terrible.
Because of what they got back. I don't think they got enough back. You know what I mean?
It's terrible. And this is Bill O'Brien in a nutshell, right?
Trying to coach and
he overthought a situation with DeAndre Hopkins and made the wrong move. And it's the same thing he does in 2-minute situations before the end of the half and in the fourth quarter. The last 4 minutes of the half, the last 4 minutes of the game, he's terrible. And he made a lot of good personnel moves, and he got to the crunch time with DeAndre Hopkins, and he made a terrible move. And this is why the Texans are what they are. I'm going to tell you right now, the Texans are going to win this division, and the Texans are going to get bounced in the first round of the playoffs again.
Yeah. I don't know. So let's move around the division, right? I don't want to beat up on the Texans so much because I think like you say, they can be a good team, but then they can show the flip side, right? When you look at, the Titans, I think the Titans did a really good job at keeping their core, which was Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. I think they did a good job of that. They really found a way to pay both of those guys, right?
Yeah.
I think a big loss for them was Jarrell Casey, who ended up getting traded to the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
He was like he's been their sack leader, double digits, like the past few seasons.
Yeah.
And I say was because now they've replaced him with Clowney, which on a 1-year deal, right? Prove to me that you're healthy. Prove to me that you can still play at he's a good disruptor is what
Right.
Clowney is. So we've seen him be, get injured, a little banged up in Houston. He goes to a division. He goes back to a division that he's familiar with. I think he's really going to wreak havoc when he plays the Texans and the rest of that division. I think the Titans did a really good job at keeping playmakers around Tannehill. Because I think we can all agree that Tannehill is not this, Joe Montana type of quarterback, but that he can manage the team, that he can not turn over the ball and keep drives going, because that's what he did, and have a really good passer rating. So he made completions when he needed them. You got a fucking beast in Derrick Henry still. I like what they did, really.
Here's my concern with Tennessee and why I don't have them winning the division is I don't think Tannehill is going to be as good as he was last year, and I don't know that Derrick Henry can stay healthy a full season. I mean, he is a bruising running back. He is a between the tackles, 3 yards and a cloud of dust type of running back. He takes a beating, that guy. And I just don't... Guys like that, when they have one great season, I just can't imagine that they can do it again. And I worry that he's not going to be able to do it again. And, they've got a rookie behind him. So...
Here's the thing
Yikes.
about the Titans, and I'm looking at what they signed here. This team is gonna depend heavily on. I think the Titans' defense is going to be better than their offense. I think this defense. Look who they got. Vic Beasley from the Falcons. They signed good edge guy. Clowney. They picked up Jonathan Joseph, who played with the Texans, again, familiar with the division. I like what the Titans did, man. They kept what got them there, and then they added a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think their defense is going to be one of the top defenses in the NFL this season. And, I mean, they could, between them, the Colts, and the Texans could easily win the division. I like what the Titans did.
Let's talk about the Colts now a little bit. What are your thoughts on them? Because
what jumps out to me about the Colts is they have almost $50 million tied up between their starting quarterback and their backup quarterback.
So they're set at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I would say so. That's a lot of fucking money. Let's start there. Like, who do they start? They got Phillip Rivers.
They went 7-9 last year. Phillip Rivers is going to be the starter, right?
I mean, he's making $25 million. He's got to be the starter for that alone.
Yeah, I mean,
and Brissett's not a bad backup.
I don't understand. I'm not a big fan of the Phillip Rivers signing for them. I felt like that money could have been used better elsewhere. I think Jacoby Brissett was great. Not great. I take that back. I think he was very good last year. They have an excellent offensive line. I think if they'd have moved that money to their defense, I think it would have been better served, because they drafted Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin. So they've got running game. They've got Ty Hilton. They have receivers serviceable receivers. Their offensive line is probably top 3 in the NFL.
Yeah.
They really should have addressed the defensive side of the ball more, and they didn't. And that's going to be a problem for them. I think that's where they're going to run into trouble. But that being said, they're another one of the. They're kind of like I talked about the Steelers. They're a well-coached team. And because they can run the ball, they will be in every game. They will pound the football, and if you don't jump out early on them, then you're gonna have a problem because eventually they are gonna wear you down.
Yeah, definitely their running game is pretty good. Marlon Mack is their lead guy at running back. I kind of think about what the Colts will do if Phillip Rivers starts off a little shaky. Like, do you have a quick hook and bring in Brissett, or what? I mean, I think this is a good spot for Phillip Rivers because he gets to have more babies in a different state. But no, seriously, the Colts are my sleeper team. I think they are very well equipped to take this division. I think they take this.
Do they take the division?
I think they take the division.
On
top of having a pretty easy schedule to start with. I think that's going to be a real big point to this division, right? Because they don't have to play a lot of division games, right? So they won't be. You play other teams. I don't know what the Texans and Titans schedule is like, but I think Rivers, with a change of scenery, look, it's no different than when you change jobs, right? You've been at a job for 15 plus years or whatever, and you go somewhere else. You're tired of that place. You go somewhere else, and you have a different type of energy. You might have something to prove. I think like Phillip Rivers has. I think he's got the same type of team that he had in LA, in San Diego. So I don't think the drop off will be that huge. I do think they'll have a quick hook though. If Phillip Rivers starts off on the wrong foot, I think they'll move to Brissett quick.
Yeah, see that to me that look, you've heard this before. If you have two good starting quarterbacks, you have no good starting quarterbacks. Right. And I feel like that's a bit of the situation that the Colts are painting themselves into here, and it really makes me worry about them.
Well, I think
in terms of what they're going to be able to do.
Well, I think they took a flyer for $25 million on Phillip Rivers, and he can absolutely be trade bait if things don't work out.
Not at $25 million, Alex.
If there's a team that comes calling and they can eat some of that contract, it can happen, right? And a draft pick, it could happen. It could happen. All you got to,
I don't think anyone's going to come calling.
Well, I mean, we don't know that, right? Because there could be a quarterback that goes down. Let's say fucking, I don't know, Matt Ryan goes. I don't know, whatever. I'm just giving an example, right? And they're in it. I mean, they could call and say, hey, eat some of his contract, eat 3/4 of his contract, and
I think you're more likely to be able to shop Brissett than because he's young.
Yeah, but I mean, no. Well, I mean, if I'm the Colts, I try to keep Brissett. If you keep one of them, you keep Brissett just because there's more, long term. But if I'm looking at the Colts schedule, they start off at Jaguars, then they're home to the Vikings, which will be a tough game. They're home to the Jets. They go to Chicago. They go to Cleveland, home to Cincinnati. Then they got a bye. Then at Detroit. So that's
a good run for them.
That's a good run for them, I think. Oh, and then week 9. So I'm going first 9 games. Week 9.
8 games.
Sorry, yes. Yes, I'm going first 8 games. They got a bye, so we go into week 9. Tough game against Baltimore. I honestly...
Is that in Baltimore?
That is home.
Off the bye week?
Minnesota and Baltimore are at home. So...
They could win one of those.
So...
Especially the Baltimore game coming off the bye week.
They could definitely win one of those. That's not coming off the bye week, actually. I'm sorry. It's bye, then at Detroit, then
Oh,
Baltimore. Apologize. So I see. I mean, they could definitely win one of those two games against Baltimore, Minnesota. This has
a good start.
This has 6-2 written all over it.
Uh-oh.
This is Brooklyn Gaucho's kiss of death team.
Well, no, last year it was Sweet Dreams, baby.
It was the Bills. I know. Yes. So
the year before that, it was the Bengals.
That's right. That's right.
They're still picking number one.
So, I mean, with that schedule, again, like I mentioned, they don't have to play in the division, right? Except Jacksonville, which I think they can handle. That looks like a very reasonable schedule to pull off a 6-2, maybe 5-3 at worst, maybe.
Yeah.
6-2. I think this is my sleeper team, and like I said, I think a quick start by any of those teams, right? Even if it's not the Colts, even if it's right, because towards the end is when you got to play those head-to-head matchups.
That's right.
So a quick start is gonna be.
It's good to have a quick start.
It's gonna be
means a lot.
It's gonna be big.
So who are you picking in this division? I'll let you pick first.
I'm picking the Colts.
I'm picking the Texans.
Really?
Just so they can get bounced in the first round of the playoffs.
I feel and I mean that's a good pick. I think any of those three teams is a good pick. I feel like the Titans are going to be disrespected. You know what I mean?
I feel like the Titans are going to take a small step back.
But in that division,
because again, I do not believe in Ryan Tannehill to the extent that the Titans believe in him, and I just wonder about Derrick Henry staying healthy for an entire season. It's so hard in the NFL.
It's gonna be interesting. Just for the record, if I wouldn't have gone with the Colts, I would have gone with the Titans. I would have gone with the Titans over the Texans.
Well, you would have been wrong either way. That's good to know.
Well, maybe, possibly, probably.
Well, let's go to a division that has normally been very uninteresting, and this year I think will be much more interesting.
Yeah.
The AFC East. You've got the Patriots, who won the division last year at 12-4 with Tom Brady. They no longer have Tom Brady. They'll have to try to win this division this year with Cam Newton. The Buffalo Bills, who made a big jump last year to 10-6. The Jets, who were a respectable 7-9. The Dolphins at 5-11. I think this division is a lot closer than people think. The Bills are obviously the very sexy pick this year, but I don't count out the Patriots because I think Cam Newton is going to have a resurgence, considering where he's been the last couple of years. Not a wild prediction there. And they've got a pretty good head coach, so that should be good. I think the Bills are going to be good again. I think the Jets will be decent. And Miami, I think, will improve a little bit. So, who do you have coming out of this division or winning this division?
Well, the Bills gave the Patriots a good run for their money last year, and that was with Tom Brady. So, the Bills had a top 5 defense last year, and they continued to make moves to that secondary. They picked up Josh Norman. EJ Gaines was a good pickup, but I guess he just opted out, so screw that. But I think their biggest pickup was a weapon for Josh Allen. They picked up Stephon Diggs. I mean, that is
for sure.
That is excellent pickup, and I don't think we're gonna get into awards, but I'm gonna say it. Josh Allen's gonna be in the run for the MVP. I think just having a weapon like that is going to draw attention from other receivers. I like their defense. I mean, it's a top 5 defense, and I think it's been that way since Sean McDermott took over that team. So I definitely have the Bills winning this division, taking that step forward. I think that playoff game against the Texans, although they lost it, was a good stepping stone. They had a good season, but making the playoffs and showing that they can compete with the Patriots, last season is huge. So I have the Bills winning the division. We're gonna find out with the Patriots if Tom Brady was, really, if it was all him or not. You know what I mean? I mean, did he have, Tom Brady's Tom Brady, but we're gonna find out if we can now plug in and another MVP quarterback coming off an injury, and do the same, have the same results, and that I'm not sure of.
I really don't. I'm not a big fan of the conversation of, was Brady plug and play and Belichick's a genius, or was it Brady? I think it takes two to tango, and both of those guys needed each other, and both of those guys helped make them great. But I think Cam Newton is a great weapon to have, and he is going to be he's going to be a real problem. He's going to be a real problem for teams. I think we talked about this earlier. A fresh coat of paint, right? for a fresh coat of paint for a quarterback in a new place. I think the Patriots are going to be just as good. Look, the Patriots have never done it on a ton of talent, and Cam Newton, is gonna have the same level of talent to work with that Tom Brady had, but he's gonna have a superior head coach coaching him. I think the Patriots are going to be real good this year. I don't think there's going to be a huge drop off. Are they going to win the division? I don't know. I really like Buffalo as well. Stephon Diggs is a humongous pickup for that offense. Their defense is solid as always. I really like Buffalo to win that division, but I won't be shocked if the Patriots win it again. Believe it or not.
Yeah. And as far as the Dolphins and the Jets, I think the Dolphins are going to be decent. They finished last year, right? In that division. I can between them and the Jets, I can see the Jets finishing last. Now, I'm not talking with a 2-14 record, like they'll finish last with maybe like 5 or 6 wins. That division is going to be a little more competitive than what people think. I mean, look, when you look at last year, right? The Dolphins had 5 wins. They finished 5-11. So it wasn't horrible, right? But
it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for anyone in that division.
Miami always plays the Patriots tough. I think not having Brady at quarterback. I understand you're replacing him with Cam Newton, but it's not going to put the fear. It's not going to put the fear in defenses anymore. You know what I mean? Cam Newton doesn't carry that same weight that Tom Brady does. And I've watched plenty of Cam Newton games in the past where he just doesn't make the necessary passes. Like, he'll either throw it over a receiver or he'll short arm it. And again, he's coming off a really, big leg injury that could be a problem, right? Depending on how they decide to use him. So that's the reason why I don't pick the Patriots to win the division, and why I think the rest of that division is going to match up better with the Patriots, is what I think. So this will be one of the better divisions all around football in 2020.
I think it's going to be very, very interesting all the way around. The Jets look like a 6-10, 7-9 football team to me again. I think the Dolphins will improve over last year. How long do you think before Ryan Fitzpatrick hands it over to Tua?
Soon. I think it happens. I think it happens quick.
Yeah. I don't know. Ryan Fitzpatrick has a way of hanging around, for lack of a better word.
Right.
He has a way of being a decent quarterback, even though he's not a decent quarterback. Right?
Yeah.
He has a way of playing well, even though he's not a good quarterback. He has a way of leading a football team, even though he's not a leader on the football team. It's really weird. He is one of those. He's like the Texans, only good.
And some players, athletes, and not just in football, right? Basketball, baseball, whatever, hockey. Some players just they enjoy that backup role, right? That not being the guy, right? They excel more in different roles, and that's kind of what Fitzpatrick has done, right? He has never really been the guy. He just kind of stepped in and did his job.
He's just kind of the guy.
He kind of steps in and just does his job, right? His number's called, and so I think Tua by week 4, 5, I think he'll be in.
Yeah, but
I want to see him play.
But you know what? I don't know that he'll stay there, because I think at some point he'll make some mistakes. They'll bring back Fitzpatrick, and he'll win a couple football games, and
right, and he'll stay as
it's weird.
Yeah.
Well, so who do you got? You got the Bills winning?
Bills, yeah.
I got the Bills as well. Do you want to do wild cards?
Yeah, we can do wild cards.
There's 3 wild cards, right?
3.
There's 3 wild cards. Who are your 3 wild cards coming out of the AFC?
Oh shit! All right, I'm gonna say the Patriots take up one of the wild cards.
Mm-hmm. Start writing.
I'm gonna say the Patriots, and who else?
I don't know. You tell me. They're your picks.
I'm gonna say the Patriots, the Titans, and the Raiders.
Okay, go ahead and put Alex on that.
All right.
I say it's going to be the Patriots, the Colts, and now I'm really torn between the Steelers and the Raiders.
The Steelers, huh? Boy, this 2 extra wild cards.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers. I think the Steelers will do enough to get in.
You've been on the Steelers for a while. I just don't.
Every year.
Something about the Steelers, I can't. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's because you hate our father.
Oh my God! I hope he doesn't listen to this.
Dad's a Steeler fan, and you hate Dad, and now everyone knows.
Well, I've already started talking shit to Dad since Monday. The Giants and the Steelers play. I may go watch it with him.
Oh, is it Monday?
Monday night, yeah. You want to go?
Yeah, let's go. We're there.
I think we should go.
We're there. I'm gonna tell him right now.
I've already started talking shit to Dad. I'm like, you can't spank me anymore, okay? I'm past that.
You can't even catch me. No, look, I am a Steeler fan in the sense that I think Mike Tomlin is one of the most underrated coaches in the NFL. I think he is extremely good, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for that team, that organization, that coach, just everything from top to bottom. And
I agree.
I think that's why I am the way I am.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We'll go straight to AFC champion, but we'll do that after we talk about the NFC. Where do you want to start in the NFC?
I mean, the East Coast. Start off with the East Coast.
The most competitive division in sports.
Although there's a team in the East Coast that's not even from the fucking East Coast. They're in the South Coast. Why are they in the East Coast? Why?
I don't know. Well, you remember, years ago when it was 3 divisions, it was even more messed up, right? Because the Arizona Cardinals
That's
were in the
right.
East.
That's right. That's right.
And they were the St. Louis Cardinals, but even then, that's not the East, right? So anyway, let's start with the NFC East. You've got the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Washingtons.
The Deadskins. The Foreskins.
I don't think you could say that either.
Why? Well, you can't say the Redskins.
Well, the Foreskins obviously is racist towards people who haven't been circumcised. You can't say that.
Nobody ever thinks about those people. Seriously, they get no love.
They are oppressed.
They are the no names.
Yeah.
Name unknown.
Okay, so I'm going to call them Washington. because I don't know what else to call them.
I'm gonna keep calling them the fucking Redskins. I don't care. It's not racist to me, and I'm not offended by it, and that's that. So let's go.
That's fine. But you realize that's not their name.
That's fine.
Okay. Well, look, this is a 2-horse race, and if I was a schedule maker, I would make the Cowboys and Eagles play the last 2 games of the season because I think it'd be a ton of fun to see them play back to back with everything on the line.
Yeah.
Neither one of these teams is. Well, I take it back. One of them could go on a run and be an 11-5 team or a 12-4 team. But I think more likely they're a 9-7 team, 10-6 team. I feel like the Eagles have more talent.
I feel like I can fly.
But I feel like the Cowboys made the biggest improvement between the two of them. And that is in hiring Mike McCarthy. I think Mike McCarthy will utilize that offensive line, will utilize Zeke Elliott, will take some of the pressure off of Dak Prescott, even though he still has some really good receivers around him. And I think the Cowboys offensively are going to be better than they have been. I think they've made the bigger improvement over the two, and they were pretty even to me from the beginning. I give a small edge here to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Just one man's opinion.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Cowboys and the Eagles, I really thought last year the Cowboys were the better team, right? I mean, I said it every week. I was waiting for them to break out, and I agree with you. I think a change in coaching is gonna do that team good. They still have talent. I mean, Dak Prescott
Loads of talent.
Yeah, Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. You still got Zeke. You know, you drafted CD Lamb. You did give a lot of money to Amari Cooper, but I think that was the way they structured, the way they went about handing out money, the Cowboys.
A bit weird.
A bit weird, but I think it's going to work out at the end. Because now you have a chance for things to either go right and then reward Dak Prescott with that big deal. And if CD Lamb, really shows out this season, you can possibly flip Cooper.
Yeah.
So, and that offensive line is still, it's lost a little bit of what they used to be from, a few seasons ago, but it's still a pretty good offensive line. The defense is where, I kind of question it a little bit. They lost Byron Jones to the Dolphins. So I don't know. That defense is kind of a question mark. So, the Eagles, The Eagles, again, you don't know what the fuck their receivers are going to do. They
don't have any receivers.
They have receivers. They just can't catch any footballs.
Well, that's kind of a big thing for a receiver, don't you think?
So, and last year I was really big on, I thought Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott would give us a 1-2 MVP run. Like, I thought these two guys would square off like Rocky Balboa and Dolph Lundgren, going toe-to-toe with, for the MVP. I think we can see it again this year. Because Wentz did a lot with very little last year. So, I hate to agree with you because I hate the Cowboys.
Yeah,
and then I hate the Eagles and I hate the Redskins.
They're not the Redskins.
I don't care. I'm calling them the Redskins. I think the Cowboys should win this division. When you look at the other two teams, the Redskins are, they have a rookie. Dwayne Haskins had a decent rookie season, but I don't know. That team is in shambles. That's, culture doesn't really, front office culture doesn't affect gameplay, on the field. But that team has issues, I think. And then the Giants are rebuilding, although I really feel they're headed in the right direction. I think, as opposed to the Redskins, culture has really shifted towards a different direction for the Giants with the Joe Judge signing, and we get to see now Danny Jones with being a second-year quarterback. So yeah, I don't think this is gonna be a great division. What was once was the most competitive division, it's not gonna be competitive. It's a two-team horse race. So I got the Cowboys winning the NFC East.
I wonder about the Giants. I feel like the Giants might be able to make a small run here, but I'm still not sold on. I'm not sold on a lot of things. I'm not sold on their coaching move. I'm not sold on Daniel Jones. They don't have a ton of weapons around him except for Barkley. So if Barkley goes down, yikes, right? Then it becomes a big problem on offense. Defensively, I think they're a little bit better than they were last year. It kind of hard to say with them. They were 4-12 last year. I think they'll be better this year, but I think you're still looking at a 6-10 football team. And then as far as Washington goes, Washington's a mess, and Washington's going to continue to be a mess for a while.
Yeah.
I just don't see them. I just don't see them getting out of this hole that they've put themselves in with questionable talent, questionable draft picks, questionable contracts. They've made a good move at coach, right? Having Ron Rivera there, I think, is great, but with the salary cap constraints and the lack of talent, I just don't see how they're going to improve much on 3-13.
Yeah.
I think they'll be a little bit better, just because I can't imagine that you'd be worse, right? Like, how can you be worse than 3-13?
What do you think about the Cowboys signing Andy Dalton to a 1-year deal?
Meaningless.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott is a really good quarterback. He's playing for a big contract, right? He wants that big contract that Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes got. He's healthy, right? He's a healthy guy. So
he's going to get that contract no matter what.
Eventually.
I mean, with the Cowboys or not, he's going to get that contract.
I think the Cowboys eventually will pay him.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, Jerry Jones...
Then why not pay him already? Because Carson Wentz got his contract, right? Like, all these quarterbacks already, they get their contracts in the third year, fourth year.
I don't know why...
It's just Jerry Jones being Jerry Jones?
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of a better reason than that.
I feel like every
reason, but
I feel like every season, it's Jerry Jones is the only guy that can stop the Cowboys from.
I don't know about that.
It feels that way, and you kind of have to wonder with McCarthy. Like, is he gonna let McCarthy be McCarthy, or is he gonna be breathing down his neck like he was with Garrett and Wade Phillips?
I can't imagine that he will. Certainly not the first year. Yeah. And if McCarthy really takes the team far, then I think he will back off. Yeah. Plus, look, at some point, Jones has got to run out of gas, right?
The only time he will.
How old is he?
Yeah, I mean, run out of gas. He's got to.
He's an old fuck. At some point, he's got to stop.
Like, his heart beating?
No, not his
No, I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm being serious. Like, I think the only time it will stop is when he's gone.
I think at some point, you don't remember this, but Steinbrenner at some point kind of got away from the Yankees. He was still involved, but he stopped being so meddlesome because he just ran out of gas, right? He just got tired, right? He got old and he didn't have the energy he had when he was younger, arguing with Billy Martin every day.
He also wasn't the GM, though. You know
right,
what I mean?
But
this guy is like, he acts like the GM.
Right, but Jerry Jones, I think, is more of a figurehead GM. His kid is doing, his son is, Stephen Jones is doing most of the work. So I think at some point, he's just going to run out of gas, right?
When's that point then? I mean, like,
well, I think if McCarthy does really well this year with the Cowboys, they go 11-5, 12-4, win a playoff game, maybe 2. I think Jerry Jones will be like, okay, I can relax a little. I think.
I mean,
I could be completely wrong.
It should be at this point making the Super Bowl because let's be honest, the Cowboys have not made the Super Bowl in over 20 years. Okay? And Jason Garrett, although very mediocre, has still made the playoffs. You've won a playoff game with Jason Garrett against the Rams a couple years ago.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? So that means McCarthy has to take you to the Super Bowl. He has to take you to the Super Bowl at this point.
Which I think he could do. Well, I think
he can do it, but again, we're going back to how much effect Jerry Jones has on this franchise and like his hands in it, and I'm sure this was a hand picked by Jerry Jones head coach, right? So
yeah, but at least he picked right.
Well, that remains to be seen. But
I think he absolutely picked right. I wish the Giants had picked McCarthy.
No.
Why not?
Because he's cross-eyed. I don't want McCarthy.
He's not cross-eyed, is he?
He's cross-eyed. He looks cross-eyed to me, but no, I did not want McCarthy, so you guys can have him. But yeah, I mean, look. So who do you got in the NFC East? The Cowboys? The girls?
I think the Cowboys win.
You got the girlies?
Yep. The Cowboys win the East.
All right. So
all right. Where do you want to move to next?
Well, I mean, we'll go to the. I guess we'll go to the North.
The North. The Packers won the North last year at 13-3. The Vikings were 10-6. The Bears 8-8. The Lions 3-12, and 1. Can't forget the 1. Didn't they open the season with a tie?
They did, yeah, against the Cardinals.
Well, that's good.
That
was a great start. It's a shame they couldn't keep it up.
You didn't lose.
It's a shame they couldn't keep it up because they lost 12 times after that. So the Packers have a new coach. Well, they had
second year
coach still. Rodgers is getting a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Vikings here.
Drafted a quarterback.
Yeah, I think the Packers are headed for doomsday with Rodgers.
You think so?
Yeah. Look, he's not the same guy he was before. Like I said, he's getting a little bit older. The Vikings have a guy who is absolutely fearless in Kirk Cousins. I mean, if he dies, he dies. With that kind of warrior spirit, surely that guy can win the NFC North. While everyone else is cowering in the corner, afraid of dying from coronavirus, Kirk Cousins, if I must die, then I die. Look, the loss of Stephon Diggs is big, but they have a lot of receivers. I mean, they have a lot of decent receivers. Thielen, whatever, is the best of the bunch, but they've got a bunch of other guys that can catch the football and do damage after they catch the football. They've got Dalvin Cook, who I think is a very good running back. They've got good depth behind them, a good offensive line. Offensively, I feel like they're a very good team. It'll be interesting to see how they do defensively. Last year, they went through a ton of injuries defensively, which I think hurt their performance. I don't expect the same thing this year. So, that being said, at 10-6, I think they can actually be a little bit better this year. Plus, last year, it seemed like they got unlucky late in games with a few calls and a few turnovers. They were very close to being 12-4.
Yeah.
Games that they just, at the end, just slipped through their fingers. And I think they're a good football team. I think they will be better this year, slightly better, and I give them the nod in the North.
Yeah, I got to roll with the Vikings too. Although some Saints fan might argue with you, saying they got lucky, right? Kyle Rudolph pushing off in that playoff game. But look, they lost Stephon Diggs, but they drafted Justin Jefferson, I believe, from LSU, who is going to fill in nicely, I think.
Absolutely.
Kirk Cousins, I think, is finally finding a way to perform under the lights. So that is very good if you're the Vikings. I think they still got to work out a deal with Dalvin Cook, which I think you want to lock him up. He was a very good runner for them last year. They lost Everson Griffin on defense, but they traded for Yannick. I'm not going to pronounce his last name, from the Jaguars, who, it's always nice when you trade for a guy that is on his last year of his contract and is coming from an unhappy place.
Yep.
It's always a good thing, because whether he stays with you or not, right now,
for this year,
he's gonna perform.
He's gonna ball out.
So I really like the Vikings team overall. They have a chance to, in my eyes, be one of the top 2 teams in the NFC and fight for that bye.
I would agree with that.
For that bye.
I would absolutely agree with that.
And look, Detroit, they're not going to have Matthew Stafford for the season, right? He opted out for COVID. So, they're kind of, they got to figure it out too. Is that going to be their guy going forward? Are they going to, put some weapons around him? I have no clue.
Chase Daniel is going to be their guy this year.
Chase Daniel. Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't know what to think about. They did pick up Adrian Peterson. How
Good
much
for them.
I don't know how much. I mean, look what Frank Gore's doing, right? I think he'll have a decent
Adrian
season.
Adrian Peterson's a lot like Frank Gore. He's the kind of guy that just keeps going and going and going. And he's not even going to be the number 1 there, because Johnson's there, Kenyon Johnson, who was, from a running perspective, the Lions can run the ball. The problem is they've got decent receivers. They've got Amendola, they've got Galladay, Jones, but none of those guys really scares me. And none of those guys is really a deep ball threat.
Yeah.
And with a quarterback who, Chase Daniel's not a great quarterback. Sure, the running game helps, but if you don't have that deep threat, it's hard to open up the middle. And so you really got to wonder.
The thing I'm looking forward to with the Lions is Isaiah Simmons, right? This guy had so much hype coming out of college because he's a fucking prototype. Right? I mean, this guy plays edge, linebacker, safety, plays it all. So what I'm really looking forward to seeing what this kid is, and with the coaching, right? How they use him is going to be huge, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're going to be playing against quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, right? What kind of different schemes, right? How they match up against these quarterbacks. So I'm interested to see the development of this kid and how he fits into the NFL, because I don't know that we've seen someone like him. Talent-wise, I can think of Lawrence Taylor. But to play on all 3 levels of a defense, I don't think we've seen that.
No, I don't think we have, and it'll be interesting to see with him.
And the Bears, they're going with Mitchell Trubisky, who was like the odds-on favorite to win the MVP last season. I don't know who the fuck made those odds, but whatever.
Didn't you pick him to win MVP last year?
No, I did not. I don't know, man. They're a fucking mess too, man. I don't know what to think of them. They got Nick Foles. And look, Mitchell Trubisky is the right move. Starting him is the right move, because is it? It is, because considering the circumstances with COVID and not enough time, you got a guy that is still more familiar with the system and with the coaching, with the plays, with the players than Nick Foles is. But make no mistake about it, Trubisky starts off with 6 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and a shitty completion rate. and Nick Foles will be starting quickly.
Yeah, I think Nick Foles starts soon. I don't think this is Mitchell Trubisky's team. I'm surprised to see they were 8-8 last year because I didn't think they were that good. This team just doesn't have anything. They just don't. They don't have any weapons on the outside. Their running game is okay, but it's they've got some problems. They've got some real problems, and it starts with Mitchell Trubisky. And the longer they hang on to that piece of, the longer they want to go that route, the worse it's going to be.
Right, it's going to hold them back.
It's going to hold them back. I think they take a step back this year, and it's not going to be pretty in Chicago. Nagy may be out of a job.
So Vikings?
I've got the Vikings. What do you make of the Packers this year? We kind of poo-pooed them.
I mean, I think they'll still be competitive. They'll be fighting for that wild card. I think we'll see the best of Aaron Rodgers here, because I think he's on his way out, man.
I think the best of Aaron Rodgers has passed Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but he's still a guy that wants to beat you. He's still a guy that just the way he plays. I think it's in his nature to be a fired up guy. Kind of. Just kind of balls to the wall, and his competitive side that will keep him. I think he always feels like he's got something to prove. You know what I mean? And I think he's gonna do that this year. He's gonna play well, I think. But the torch is definitely gonna be passed sooner than later.
Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is on his way down and on his way out.
Yeah.
I don't see him staying healthy for an entire season.
If it doesn't work out in New England, can you see a Bill Belichick and Aaron Rodgers reunion, like 1 year deal, 2 year deal?
No, because I think I do think it's going to work out with Cam Newton, and B, I think Bill Belichick is looking for the next young quarterback to mold. So I don't think he's going to do another veteran quarterback.
What if Belichick knows in his head, I got 3 seasons left. Like, that's it. For example, I want to coach them 75 and he's 72 right now.
Right.
Do you take a little shot at Aaron Rodgers? You make the call. Say, hey, Aaron, A-Rod.
No, I don't. This is gonna sound bad, but
then don't say it.
I don't think a coach like Bill Belichick likes a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. Bill Belichick is the boss. Bill Belichick wants to be the boss. He wants you to know he's the boss. He wants the relationship to work as though he's the boss. And he's not going to take Aaron Rodgers blowing up
But Cam Newton,
call.
in a way, maybe not in the same sense as A-Rod, is still like that.
But
where he speaks his mind and stuff,
But I think Cam Newton has been humbled by his experiences over the last 2 years, and I think he has a profound respect for Bill Belichick. Whereas I don't think Aaron Rodgers respects any coach. He didn't respect Mike McCarthy, and I thought McCarthy's a damn good coach, and I felt like he didn't have much respect for him. So Aaron Rodgers is 36. Aaron Rodgers is on his way out.
Well, I mean, that's what we thought about Tom Brady, and he's, he's 40. I mean, age. Look, if you got it, you got it. Aaron Rodgers has a better arm than Tom Brady, so he's still playing.
But there's more guys bowing out at 37 and 38 than there are playing till they're 43.
Yeah, but this is not most guys. This is Aaron. Like this is a fucking this is Aaron Rodgers. It's very few. Big Ben, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Fuck, you can even throw Phillip Rivers because the guy is still playing. He's not great as these other guys, but he still plays.
And that's my point. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be great.
You don't think he's already great?
I think he's great. I don't think he's going to be great this season. I think he's sliding down. He's
I think a lot of it has to do with, the teams that Green Bay has built around him has not been complimentary to the guy. I mean, you fucking draft a quarterback. Why not draft a wide receiver or a running back for him? No, they have Aaron Jones. So you draft a wide receiver for the guy. This guy hasn't had a fucking wide. He's got Devontae Adams. But I mean, get this guy some fucking help. So, I'm sure he's difficult to deal with in the locker room and for a coach, but make no mistake about it, Aaron Rodgers can still fucking sling the rock. I mean, this guy filled really huge shoes after Brett Favre and has kept that franchise relevant. And he can still play. Healthy, he can still play. But, it'll be interesting to see where he ends up, because I don't think he'll end up finishing his career with Green Bay.
I agree with you, and I at this point I do not think of Aaron Rodgers as a top 5 quarterback.
And that's interesting.
I don't. I mean,
no, that's fine. I'm just saying it's interesting because.
Would you put him in the top 5? Would you put him ahead of Mahomes, Lamar Jackson?
Lamar, yes.
You put him ahead of Lamar Jackson at this point?
Yes, Dude, we're talking about 15 years of experience, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Yes, I put Aaron Rodgers up there.
I understand that he's got 15 years of experience and he's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and an MVP.
But I'm talking about this season. I'm not.
Yes.
This is the exact,
okay. Yes. Yes.
This is the exact opposite argument of Patrick Mahomes, right? People talk about Patrick Mahomes as the greatest quarterback ever, and I say, well, no, he's not, because he has not done these things. He's only done 3 years worth of these things. He's on track, right? Aaron Rodgers was a great quarterback. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback anymore. I don't think he's
what makes him not a great quarterback, though?
I don't think he's top 5 because I.
But wait, what? Okay, wait, hold on. You can be top 7 and be a great quarterback. What makes him not a great quarterback?
What do you determine as great?
I mean,
what?
4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions last season is pretty great.
What do you determine as great in terms of numbers? Top 3, top 5, top 7? What are we talking here?
That don't matter, whatever.
No. Well, pick a number. Because if
hold on, bro.
Hold on. If you tell me top 10, then yes, he's great. I think he's a top 10 quarterback. But if you say top 5, I don't think he's a great quarterback because I don't think he's top 5.
Okay, well, I say top 5. You mentioned Lamar Jackson. I think he's better than Lamar Jackson.
Top 5. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Drew Brees. Heck, I would take Brady over Rodgers at this point, too. I've got 5 right there.
Okay, well, I mean, that's fine. But I mean, look, when I look at his body of work, it's
season.
Well, we haven't fucking played this season, dude. I mean, look what he's done the past seasons.
But for this season, I just don't see it.
Well, I mean, we can say that about every fucking quarterback. We can say that about Tom Brady.
No. We'll talk about Tom Brady in a little bit. I just don't. I see a decline in Aaron Rodgers in decision making and moving the ball in late game situations.
Everybody.
That just makes me think.
All right, listen up real quick. Hold on.
Makes me think he's losing it.
Hold on. This guy threw for 4,000 yards in 2014, 2016, 2018, 2019.
Right.
He threw, since 2014, he threw 38, 31, 40, 16. That was an injured year. 25, 26 touchdowns. Since 2014, he threw 5, 8, 7, 6, 2, 4 interceptions.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how much greater you got to be than that. Tom Brady doesn't even have those fucking numbers.
Okay. We'll see this year. When we get to the end of the season, you'll agree with me.
But
you'll say, you didn't have a great season.
Because I'm still going to think Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. He is a great quarterback.
He's a great quarterback career-wise. I don't think he's going to be a great quarterback this year.
Okay. So you think Lamar is going to be greater than Aaron Rodgers? That's what you're saying.
Lamar Jackson is going to be pretty damn good this year.
No. You think Lamar Jackson
is going to be better than Aaron Rodgers this year?
He's going to be greater than Aaron Rodgers.
He's going to be better than Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see. We'll see when it all shakes out.
All right.
Where are we going to next? The South?
Sure.
Let's see. The South is interesting, right? Because you got some jumbling going on there. The Saints clearly the best team last year at 13-3. The Falcons at 7-9, the Bucks at 7-9, and the Panthers at 5-11. Now, of course, the big elephant in the room here is Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski teaming up in Tampa Bay. This has an NBA feel to it, right?
It sure does.
Kind of like LeBron and Chris Bosh going down to join Dwayne Wade in Miami. But now you've got one of the greatest quarterbacks ever and a really good tight end on a team that already had talent but had a quarterback that threw 30 interceptions last year. I mean, the Saints are really damn good, but man, you gotta like the matchup now with Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay to me is the hardest team to figure out because yeah, Tom Brady is 43. Robert Gronkowski did take a year off of football. Yeah, they have talent, but they had this quarterback who threw more interceptions than touchdowns. So how much of a difference is it going to make? It's very, very hard to tell what we have here. Who do you give the edge to?
I have no idea. I mean, on paper, the Bucks look like the best team, but, I kind of go back to, I'm interested to see what Tom Brady's going to do because, my argument is, well, he didn't have a lot of weapons in New England, right? And he was able to win. And it feels like Tampa Bay has rushed and he made sure he went somewhere where he was going to have a lot of weapons. He's not going to have the same coach. So that's kind of, my argument with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, the whole type of deal. I mean, on paper, they look like the best team, but Gronkowski, can he stay healthy all season? I mean,
that's always a big question mark.
They picked up Leonard Fournette from trading with the Jaguars. On paper, yes, they have a good team. That was a very good offense last year. I mean, if Tom Brady can throw half of those interceptions, they
I'm
should
sure
be
he
able
can throw half the interceptions.
They should win some more games. Their defense is pretty good. I thought their defense was really good last year. It should be good again. I can see the Saints taking a step back. I don't know. They're desperate to win. I feel like they're really desperate to win. I don't know that they have, the Kamara's an issue with them, contract wise and all that shit. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this division.
The key for the Saints is they got Jameis Winston.
Yeah. To not play him?
So now they can get all the secrets on how to get all of those interceptions.
Yeah.
Against Tampa Bay, and maybe Brady will throw for 30 interceptions as well. Look, in terms of talent, it's tough because the Saints are a very talented football team, really top to bottom. If Kamara is fine, I know there was some talk about him holding out and this, that, and the other thing. If he's fine, man, this is going to be a fun team to watch again because they still have Michael Thomas. They've got Sanders. Drew Brees looks like he's fighting Father Time tooth and nail and winning. So he looks really good. Whoa. We've had a bit of a power surge here.
Restart?
I don't know what
No,
happened.
we're not restarting. We're just saying. Yeah, I mean, look. I think you still go with the Saints in this division until,
until proven otherwise.
Yeah, until proven otherwise, And the tag team of Sean Payton and Drew Brees is a good one. Brees is definitely, I think, looking to hang him up pretty soon.
There's another guy who's 40 and still slinging it.
Yeah. And they put Emmanuel Sanders around him, a weapon at wide receiver. They still have Marquez Colston, right? So Jared Cook at tight end. They're looking. I'm gonna go with the Saints. I don't know. This is a very tricky division in my eyes.
It is very tricky. I just can't get over the fact that the if you look at Tampa Bay, if you just take one thing, right? If you take those 30 interceptions and cut them down to, what will Brady cut it down to? 12?
10? He could. I mean, he could fucking very well do single digits.
Yeah, he very well could. But let's be conservative. Let's say he cuts it down to 12. That's 18 more possessions. That's one more possession a game.
Yeah.
And depending on where those interceptions happened, some of those may even be in the red zone. So those are guaranteed points, right? How much better would they be? Like, how much better would they have been last year if Jameis Winston threw only 12 interceptions? They actually outscored their opponents by 9 points last year.
How much better would they be, do you think?
I mean,
I think they would be a lot better. You know why?
It would have to be at least 3 wins.
You know why? Because you take pressure off the defense, right? They're not on the field as much. So I mean that's a win right there.
It has a humongous domino effect, right? Yeah. Not only those actual possessions that now you can't convert into points, but like you said, the defense is not on the field. I mean, I don't know what they're by the mere fact that they outscored their opponents by 9 points last year tells me that they still scored a lot of points even with those 30 interceptions. Yeah. Like, you have to believe it was 3 wins worth.
I would think so. I mean, they were. I don't think they lost the game by more than 9 points or some shit like that.
That's what I wanted to look up.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what.
Check it out. It might even be less than 9 points if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, that's just insane. That is absolutely insane. And God, I keep going. I keep thinking back to that. I can't freaking find 2019.
What was their? They were 6-10 last year.
7-9.
7-9. Holy shit.
7-9.
Yeah, I mean, for now, I gotta stick with the Saints. Brady's coming to a new division.
It will be a more difficult division, right?
A little more difficult. More difficult also because I think the Falcons will have a bounce back. I can see them being a little better this year.
So let's go through the Tampa Bay last season. They lost by 14 to San Francisco. Okay, so probably still a loss. They lost by 1 to the Giants. That would have been a win, right?
I don't know. We played Tom Brady pretty good, so I don't know.
They lost by 7 to the Saints. Okay. They lost by 11 to Carolina. Okay. Lost by 4 to Tennessee. That might have been a win. They lost by 6 in overtime to Seattle. That probably would have been a win. What are we up to now? 3?
Mm-hmm.
They lost by 17 to the Saints. Lost by 3 to Houston. That would have been a win.
Oh, yeah.
And lost by 6 in overtime to Atlanta. That might have been a win as well. That's 5. 5 games.
That's a huge swing, man.
I mean, that's a 12-4 team.
Right.
Which,
Which they're not going to go 12-4.
Well, but hold on a second. And then you've got the Saints who went 13-3. 13-3 is kind of hard to duplicate.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with Tampa Bay winning this division.
Tampa Bay?
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be razor close because, it doesn't always work out exactly the way we plan. But that's going to be something else.
Yeah, it should be good,
What do you make of Atlanta? Since we are very firmly behind the
Saints and the Bucks.
The Saints and the Bucks.
I think they can make some noise. Possibly, fight for that 7th spot for the playoffs. But
Julio Jones has got to stay healthy for them.
He's got to stay healthy. They lost Devontae Freeman, but they gained Todd Gurley. They still have Matt Ryan, who, is not. is this the season that Dan Quinn gets fired? Because I think every week last year
You were convinced he was going to get fired. I think starting in week
0
2
of preseason. Is this
after that third preseason game, you were convinced.
Is this the season he gets fired?
I don't know. I mean, the Saints, the Texans still have Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
The Texans actually gave Bill O'Brien more money and more responsibility.
Yeah, go
So,
figure, right?
go
Yeah,
figure.
so he could be rewarded for a 3-13 season.
Yeah, another. If he pulls off another stellar 5-11 season.
Yeah.
Now they did have a ton of injuries last year.
Yeah, I mean this.
They were one of those teams that would beat the hell up.
I mean, this really feels like a 2-team.
They were 7-9 last year.
Shit, that's not that bad.
They started off bad, remember, which
Yeah.
is what had you calling for him getting fired.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, you look at the Panthers, 5-11. I mean, it's not horrible, but considering they had injuries and all that, they may be on the same trail. Although they got Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback.
I'm not sold on Teddy Bridgewater. Are you?
I think he'll do all right. I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think
he's a
he'll.
5-11
I don't.
quarterback.
Yeah, but I mean, he filled in nicely for Drew Brees last season. I mean, that wasn't bad, and he's
Right,
got a
but
nice little weapon, and he's got some wide.
one weapon.
He's got wide receivers. He's got a wide receiver, a good weapon. They the thing with them, they got a rookie head coach. I don't know how that's gonna go, but I don't think Bridgewater's gonna do terrible. I think he'll do all right.
I think he'll do 5-11.
Yeah, he could. Yeah. Well, I mean, but he's not the whole team, man.
No, I know, but I mean, this is a 5-11 team. I don't
Yeah,
see
probably.
anything. I don't see, and it's a real shame too because the country should get a look at Christian McCaffrey every week. I mean, that guy is must-watch TV. I mean, he's awesome, and it's a shame that he's playing on a team that's not making a whole lot of noise and therefore will not get a lot of primetime spots. Will not get on TV a whole lot. You'll see his little highlight clip Sunday night as on the recap of the games, but other than that, you won't see much because that team's just not that good.
Yeah.
All right, let's move out west.
All right, so I got the Saints, you got the Bucks, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Out west, you have the NFC champion San Francisco 49ers at 13-3, the Seattle Seahawks 11-5, the Rams 9-7, and the Cardinals at 5-10-1. This is probably, I think I'm going to say this is probably the best division top to bottom. Because San Francisco was the best team last year, they're really good. But even if you go down, the Rams last year at 9-7 took a step back from their previous season where they went to the Super Bowl. The Cardinals made a lot of moves. We're now in year 2 of the Kyler Murray experiment. So top to bottom, and Seattle's always good. I mean, Seattle's one of those teams that I think Seattle's the kind of team that as long as Pete Carroll's the coach and Russell Wilson's the quarterback, everything else can fluctuate. They're still going to be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you look at the you look at the Cardinals. Obviously, the big pickup is DeAndre Hopkins, another weapon for Kyler Murray. Larry Fitzgerald re-signed for 1 more year, so he's still there.
Right.
This team looks pretty decent. Defensively, they look pretty good. It's not going to knock your socks off, but it's not a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. I think they're actually probably a little bit better than their 5-10-1 record from last year. So they're going to be decent. Who do you like in this division? I kind of started at the bottom, but tell me what you think.
I definitely see improvements for the Arizona Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray had a very good rookie season. I mean, he won Rookie of the Year. Second season is always, the season where kind of the sophomore quarterbacks, break out. Adding D-Hop to his arsenal is fucking huge.
Huge.
It's huge. So I think definitely we can see an improvement from the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. You're right. This division is really looking like one of the better divisions. And even though the Cardinals finished 5-11, I think they still beat the 49ers in the game last year.
Game, yeah.
So now with the 49ers, I do sense maybe a hangover. I think that if I had to pick them or the Chiefs, they would probably have the hangover. And playing in that tough division that knows them so well, can really, I think, with everybody else getting better.
Yeah, I do not expect 13-3 from the 49ers again this year. Look, defensively they're good, and that's going to keep them in a lot of games. But the fact of the matter is when you lose the Super Bowl the next year, man, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to even make the playoffs, let alone make it all the way back. And they still don't have receivers for Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, they've got George Kittle. I think George Kittle is their best receiver. And that's a problem. Their running game is good. Their offensive line is decent. Jimmy Garoppolo's got to step it up a little bit, I think, for this team to be a real threat going forward. But I just don't see that happening. And look, I think they're going to live and die by their defense. Their defense does the job. They're going to be in games, and they're going to be okay. But they're not going to be 13-3. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And don't forget they added Trent Williams that they traded with Washington. That offensive line was already good, and then I believe Joe Staley retired, or some shit, and then they picked up Trent Williams. So that's a good pickup. It's good for Jimmy G, right? Protection.
Yep.
As long as he can stay healthy and actually play. I think the 49ers will do all right. And the Seahawks, they always find a way to keep themselves in games. And with Russell Wilson at quarterback, they always are in games. And so.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks look good to me. They've got good receivers. They've got a good running game. They don't have that one breakout running back, but they've got a crew of guys that they can throw at you one after another, and a good offensive line. They drafted Damian Lewis, which I think will help shore up the offensive line. They're a good football team defensively. They're not the Legion of Boom anymore, but they're still very good defensively. I really like Seattle. I like the Rams as well. The Rams have to stay healthy. That was their big problem last year. I am a little bit concerned about them losing Gurley. They've got Malcolm Brown. They're going to kind of go running back by committee, I guess, which is okay. Could work out, could not work out.
Right.
Defensively, they're good. They still have, the best player, the best defensive player in the league, in Aaron Donald. The secondary is a little suspect, but they drafted some players, and hopefully that will help the situation. But the secondary is the problem. The secondary is the big problem for them. They could run into another 9-7 season, and quite frankly, it'll be because of the secondary, because teams will be able to throw on them a lot.
Yeah, I don't think the loss of Todd Gurley is huge, because I think he was unhappy there, and McVay just wasn't using him the right way, or wasn't using him enough. I don't know what the issue was, but
there was an issue there.
But it seems like that's the best thing for the Rams and Gurley at this point.
Agree.
I think the biggest question mark is, can Jared Goff
take that next step? Because they went to the Super Bowl, but he didn't really play that well. Right.
So can he
lift his game to an elite quarterback?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you're getting paid like one of the very top quarterbacks in the league. So I think that's the biggest question mark for that team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that is a big question mark. The other question that I have is, has McVay just kind of overthought the offense, right? Does he need to just go back to a, kind of tone it down, focus on just running a normal offense? Not entirely, but more so than he has in the past. I feel like last year he kind of overthought it. And that's why the offense struggled a little bit, along with the Gurley situation.
Yeah.
Who you got out west?
I am going to. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Don't take my pick.
You're probably picking Seattle. If I know you well enough, you're probably taking Seattle, which is you'll probably go opposite of me. Is what you're gonna do.
Don't take my pick.
I'm gonna pick.
Don't take my pick.
I'm gonna pick Seattle because I don't think Jimmy G can live up. I don't think he's the guy for the 49ers. I don't think he's the guy for the 49ers.
I kind of agree with you.
So I'm going to go with the Seahawks.
I was going to pick the Seahawks.
But you're going to pick the 49ers.
But now I'm going to pick the Rams.
The Rams?
Yes, just because I hate when we pick the same. And, quite frankly, if there's a division where you can just go hard. Heck, I could have picked the Cardinals if I have maybe not as good of a chance, but I'd have a pretty good chance. Because
I guess you can always pick the 49ers as a wild card team.
No, I'm going to pick the Seahawks. All right, so speaking of wild cards, let's go to the wild card. NFC wild cards. So you go first. Now, just to refresh everybody, you've picked Cowboys, Vikings, Saints, and Seahawks as division winners. Pick your 3 wild cards.
I'll pick the Packers. I'll pick the Bucks. And I will pick the 49ers. Sorry, Eagles.
All right, I have Cowboys, Vikings, Bucks, and Rams. I will pick the Saints. I will pick the Seahawks and the 49ers.
All right.
That could come back to bite me, right? I picked the toughest division to put two teams in.
Well, I mean,
as much as they're going to beat up on each other, it may be it may be rough. Alrighty, so that's every division, and we've only been talking for 3 hours.
That's it.
That's it. All right, so let's go straight to conference champion.
Conference championship. If you got one, you can go because I have no fucking.
We'll start in the NFC. Conference champion. I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
Okay.
To represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. How scary is that?
All right. The Bucks. All right.
And then in the AFC, let's see. God. How could you not pick the Chiefs or the Ravens? I think the Ravens get through this year.
I think the Ravens. You're kind of high on the Ravens this year.
Yeah, it's so hard to go back to back. It is so hard to go back to back.
It is.
And don't get me wrong, I love the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are loaded in terms of talent, coaching, everywhere. But it's so hard to do back to back.
Are there going to be fans in this thing?
I think the fans will show up for the playoffs. No fans in the regular season.
Have they said that already, or are they doing a capacity?
I don't know. I haven't heard, and I haven't really paid attention because I've realized that since I'm not going to the games anyway, I don't give a shit. Like all this about the NBA with no fans and hockey with no fans and baseball, I have found it to bother me absolutely zero. Like maybe if we were watching basketball all season long and then all of a sudden they took away fans, maybe it would have bothered me.
Right.
But the fact that I went from the basketball season to no sports to then sports with no fans, I'm like, I don't care.
It's whatever.
Right? It's still on the upslope for me.
Huh.
Are you going to pick an NFC and AFC champion?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Are you pick who's going to win the Super Bowl?
The Bucks.
The Bucks. Of course.
I can't believe I just said that.
Well, I think a lot of people have the Bucks winning.
Winning the Super Bowl? Really?
Yeah. Oh,
I don't think they have them going that far.
oh, yeah.
Maybe I haven't paid attention.
Yeah, they're fucking odd, and their odds are.
Are they really good?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Well, then I hope I get it right.
Um,
And if the Bucks win, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback ever, and Bill Belichick's a piece of shit.
I agree. So in the NFC, I am going
Well,
to
you are going to pick.
Of course. Why would I not?
I don't know.
I don't know. In the AFC, I'm picking the Chiefs again. I feel like the AFC is a little easier. In the
NFC is harder.
In the NFC, I really like the Vikings, to be honest with you. I don't know if Kirk Cousins can make it that far into the bright lights though. You know what I mean?
Vikings too.
And I like the Seahawks because, they got Russell Wilson, but I don't know if the rest of their team is I don't know, man. I'm going to say the Chiefs and the Cowboys.
Oh my goodness.
And I started putting a C under the Cowboys line, and I just put a C. Luckily, they both have C's in their name. Because I'm not fucking picking the Cowboys
to win the Super Bowl.
Cowboys, Chiefs. Chiefs take Super Bowl 55.
Are we up to 55 already?
I don't know. I like the number.
You know what we should do? In the middle of the season, after week 9, will every team have had their bye by then? Or their byes after week 9?
No, because there's buys by week 4 and 5.
Okay, so anyway,
after 9 games, no, we can.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what you're
well,
trying to
what
do.
I was thinking is in the middle of the season,
Change our picks.
No, at the very middle of the season, once every team has played 8 games, we should have a 4-team draft.
Okay.
Pick 4 teams, and then you get 2 points if they win the division.
Okay.
1 point if they're a wild card. 3 points for winning a playoff game. Unless you get the bye, in which case you automatically get those 3 points, right? 4 points for winning 2 playoff games. 5 points for winning 3 playoff games. And then, 6 points for winning the Super Bowl. And see which 4-team combo does the best. We should do that. Let's do that.
We could try it.
We'll do the math on that later. Oh, look. AFC picks. Buffalo, Baltimore, Indianapolis, and the Chiefs.
Rich Eisen knows what he's talking about.
He's a Michigan man. Of course he does. Look, that is almost what I have. I've got the Texans instead of the Colts.
Well, that's almost what I have, too.
Actually, it is what you have.
It's not what I have.
Bills, Ravens, Colts, and Chiefs.
Oh, shit. I'm going to go play the lotto.
Dude, you and Rich Eisen.
Great minds think alike.
God, we've got damn near the same picks in the AFC. That sucks. Oh, well. Go Texans.
Not really, because then in the wild card...
The wild card, it gets different.
The wild card gets different, so...
All right, man. Anything else you want to talk about to preview NFL 2020? I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. Tomorrow night should be good. Should be good.
Dude,
Texans and Chiefs.
Yeah, in Kansas City. Who wins? Get your first prediction of the season out of the way.
KC's going to win the fucking Super Bowl. They win.
Look, this is a perfect opportunity for the Texans to show that they are the best 10-6 team in the league. Or they could get a big lead again and blow it and show that they're the worst 10-6 team in the league.
Which is always a possibility with the Texans.
And seeing as how they did just that last year in the playoffs with them, it's very likely. Well, maybe not likely, but it could happen.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Alrighty, folks. That brings us to the end of our 2020 NFL preview. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, if you want to reach out to us, you can email the show, positivesports10@gmail.com. Positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to get a hold of Alex, how do they do that?
On Twitter at BrooklynGaucho1.
Excellent. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can do so on Twitter as well, at eMontana21.
Kind of want to change my Super Bowl pick now.
Shut up. Too late.
Shit. I kind of like the Colts, man. Rich Eisen just showed a picture of Phillip Rivers,
looking like a
in
beast.
shorts. I know, man. It looked kind of sexy.
Yeah, until he blows out his ACL in the first game of the season.
Brockman's got Patriots, Steelers, Colts, Chiefs. He's wrong.
Steelers? There's another guy who knows something. If you want to catch our show, you can do so on YouTube, Podbean, Google Play, iTunes, whatever podcast platform you choose. As always, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, add your comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Yep.
And hey, let's all enjoy 2021, whether we have fans or not. Right?
That's right.
You got anything else?
That's it. That's all I got.
All right, folks. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the football season. Enjoy the rest of the basketball season. Enjoy sports. We've got it back. It's great. We love it. And as always, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.